Yo, what is good, my anime faithful? Why is my controller gonna die, my anime faithful? Guys, my freaking lord. We are getting into a character that I can honestly say, Alicia Elijah Penchley, that I can't help but to just be on his side. I can't help but to want the best things to come out for him. Granted, this is a shonen, and usually every shonen in the whole entire world, has these situations where the characters get stuck, and then the characters do something to get themselves unstuck, and then boom, bam, boom, bada, boom, 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 bop. But with that being said, this was a beautiful way to get them unstuck. This was a fun way to watch all of this unfold. Um, the one thing I was not expecting was to get some understanding from at least one of the demons. To be fair, I guess it makes sense because he was actually a number, and the way he transformed into a base form demon seems relatively sketch. Like, there's something behind it that maybe if once looked into, the demons could be even more dangerous than we first thought. Because supposedly, the way that they illustrated it, right? Like, because this could be totally wrong, and there could have been more to this, but because of time or because of things that are going, you know, they wanted certain things to happen and they didn't want to flesh out the character as much or something. Any case scenario, but for some reason he just gains red eyes, and all of a sudden, the thing that he also enjoyed besides writing was like sutured to his stomach, and actually once he hit it, it caused that blade reaction thing that we saw, that he was fighting with in the first place. So with all that being said, it freaked me out to know that that's how he turned. Like his sister, his family, his brothers, they all didn't even get to turn. They just died. And then you go to this guy, and not only did he, get treated badly and all this, but he also seemingly chose to go into this mode, like he chose to straight up just become a demon and destroy. So the weird part of it is, was he already like this abuse was probably going on for quite some time, like this verbal abuse and maybe even physical if they just left it out. But I mean, you gotta imagine that someone who's this comfortable with talking this much trash about somebody, including in there's something that people I think might misinterpret too as well, like being like this towards somebody in that country, or being like that towards somebody who you're supposed to be the leaning support for, is very disrespectful. And like, it would be just like anybody who saw that or was trying to not be around that would definitely do their dangdest to be away from you. Like they won't want to have their lives like that, even if they are themselves doing it themselves. Like, just in the public eye, you never want anybody looking at you like that or something. You know what I mean? And that's just what I've gotten from how it is out there. You should be supportive. You should not supportive, but you should be respectful and not anything of a nuisance. And in some people's like turbulent and turban, like how they interpret of how living there, so to think that this is that era, and like, you're not supposed to be doing things that you show, have you standing out and stuff like that. That's a better way of saying it. Like, you shouldn't be standing out in a negative way or anything like that. Like, that's even why some people don't want their children to be performers, because you're standing out. And it's just one more of those ways of parents being like, oh, you were standing out there and got all of us noticed, and I don't want to be noticed. It's weird stuff like that that I've heard. Oh yeah, this guy's glitched. Okay, I got it. That I've heard, like people doing stuff that they're passionate about, but because they have family members, because they have friends that aren't about it, it's just weird. It turns out to look weird to them. They're like, oh, you're doing weird stuff. It's like, well, if I love to do the stuff, then it's not weird, right? Nah, it's still weird, even though you love it and you're passionate about it. So that's kind of this situation, and he just goes off. He just snaps, destroys the guy. Either it's his father or it's a teacher that was pretty much trying to, because somehow he knew what, somehow his word is law, you know, like, so clearly it was more likely his father than a teacher, but it would make sense if he was a teacher because he felt like he knew such powerful and poetic stuff, and whatever this student or his son was writing was absolutely bogus and trash, and he knows the complete difference. You know, with this time period, there's been so much writing to read. He's fluent in the words of writing, okay? And he just trashes them, and that was kind of like all we really get in this overall grand scheme of his backstory. And not only that, the reason why he actually kind of loses it and stops being so aggro and starts like just not being aggressive is because the kid straight up sees these papers on the ground, and while dodging, he notices the claws aren't ripping up the pages. It's ripping up the floor, it's ripping up the walls. But then when you look at the pages, they're just floating in the wind, almost as if he has enough time, like when he goes into that concentration, and it almost feels like he slows down time for himself to have thought process, to be able to get into his techniques, his breaths. Maybe he had time to read some of those words on the page, and either that or he's just that respectful, and he was raised so well to respect even some small documents that don't have anything to do with your life being on the line, but you're going to dodge out of the way of them, so if they are important to somebody, they can still use them. It's stuff like that that really blows my mind, that they're putting that much into the character. You know, like, for instance, there's a character that I instantly, saw this guy as, and that's Gone from Hunter x Hunter. He just has that personality that any animals, any people, any trouble, he will try to help. And I mean, even in a video game where it's clear that some of these helps could be mistaken as someone trying to play a trick on you or trying to get you to do something you shouldn't do, he would still help because that's just his natural reaction. And that's what I feel about this character. He's a natural helper. He's a natural giver. But let's talk about the true star. Let's talk about the real one who protected a box, who he didn't even understand what the heck the box was. It could be the most powerful demon of all times, and he actually had confirmation that it already was a demon before this Boar guy came out and started beating the crap out of him just to take it out. Mind you, he knows it's a demon, so he's literally at his hands and knees hugging a box with a demon that could pop out like Jack in the Box at any time and protecting it. This is the same guy who cries about every single scenario he gets into, but is about to sacrifice his life for something or someone he's never even met before that could be the same thing that he's been trained to kill, and he has a weapon to kill. This character, I already know people are going to flip-flop now and be like, I always loved him, it was great. I'm going to keep it honest with you. I'm going to keep it 350 billion with you, okay? He's annoying. But that does not mean I dislike the character. You know, like I said, he's Asta. Asta's one of my favorite characters in Black Clover. Even though his personality is absolutely loud and obnoxious, guess what? He's still the most enjoyable to watch in a fight, in the comedy. All those things have grown on me. And this guy hasn't even, he's had, what, 2 episodes to try to grow on me, And if you think that's enough to make me have a most hated character, that's, you don't know me at all, my anime people. You just don't know. But I'm very, very happy that they showed this side of him. Let's just get all of the trash can thoughts about him out of the way and put him up there with why we should care, why we should be paying attention to him, as well as just wanting him to shine as much as our character. I was always just waiting for the opening song to kind of become a realization, even if it isn't like an actual scene in the anime and stuff. Like, I just wanted to know how this Boar guy and the other guy were going to fit in with the story. Are they going to change the dynamics? Are they going to make the dynamics quicker, faster, funnier? Like, what are they going to add? And to think that they added them both in this area was dope. I like it. Like, not only do shows usually introduce one character at a time, so you get these moments of him like getting beat up over the whole box and stuff, you know, makes us really like him. And now I really hate the Boar guy. Like, the Boar guy is trash. I was literally waiting to see what our main character was going to do to this man, and then they stall. They pull a JoJo, dum 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 dum. I was like, bruh. So I'm gonna stall now and not tell you guys anymore how I feel. So with that, my anime people, I hope you guys have an amazing day, night, evening, whatever the case may be. I'm your boy, the Anime G, and I definitely will be talking about We Never Learn very soon. We Never Learn very soon, and I can't wait to hear your guys' opinion on that. If you are one of those people that watch this and We Never Learn, I truly appreciate you, and I can't wait to talk to you in both videos. So with that being said, have an awesome one, everybody, and peace. Aw. Nameless. Let's beat her up, everybody. Bud Kai. Medusa.